A jewel thief who was armed with a sledgehammer in a brazen smash and grab has been spared jail by a judge who insists the thug isn't linked to the Apex gang. The county court freed Akon Mawien, finding his case was exceptional. Court reporter Jade Vincent.
He took part in 2 terrorising armed robberies that netted $200,000 from jewellery stores. But Akon Mawien won't spend a day behind bars. 2 of his co-offenders were locked up, but Judge Elizabeth Gaynor ruled the 20-year-old didn't deserve the same punishment, insisting a supervised community order isn't a get-out-of-jail-free card.
In my view, your case, Mr Mawien, is one of those exceptionally rare cases.
The court heard the then teenager was a promising cricketer, but injuries and unemployment sent him into a downward spiral. His defence argued that by chance Mawien came into contact with fellow bandit Akon Mawien in July 2016, that his mate fed him drugs and enticed him to join in the smash and grabs at Coburg and the CBD.
He gave you ice in an amount that you had not previously experienced. You were then recruited into participating in this appalling offending.
The sledgehammer raids were organised by an Apex ringleader with the promise of cash and girls in return. But the judge was adamant Mawien had no ties to the notorious gang. His defence said he has become the poster boy for Apex-linked youth crime. Despite attributing the violent offending to his drug use, Mawien was further spared any order to undergo drug treatment. Her Honour finding he was fully rehabilitated. Mawien's youth justice worker positive the armed robber was no longer a danger to the community. I've never seen a man who is so committed to being given another chance. And that's exactly what he got. Jade Vincent, 9 News.
A young thug who terrorised jewellery store owners in horrifying smash and grab robberies in Melbourne has escaped jail. A judge sympathised with the 21-year-old, saying despite his victim's trauma, he had been rehabilitated.
This is Akon Mawien on an armed robbery rampage. For all the terror he inflicted, he won't spend a day behind bars. The court heard Mawien ran into a friend who lured him into crime, a notion Judge Elizabeth Gaynor sympathised with. He gave you ice in an amount that you had not previously experienced. You were then recruited into participating in this appalling offending. And while his co-accused was sent to jail, he was set free on a 3.5-year community corrections order. In my view, your case, Mr Mawien, is one of those exceptionally rare cases that does fall into that exceptional category. Rare because, according to a social worker, he'd proven he was a changed man. His level of commitment is something I've never seen. Judge Gaynor scoffed and rolled her eyes at media while explaining that Mawien was not linked to the Apex gang. His lawyer agreed that he'd become the poster boy for Apex-linked youth crime, even though the Coburg and city robberies he was involved in were organised by an Apex recruiter. Mawien also avoided taking part in a drug rehabilitation program because, in the words of the judge, he only used ice twice. That's despite Her Honour's previous remarks blaming his offending on his drug use. Mawien must complete 300 hours of community work as part of the order. Chanel Vella, 7 News.